How do you host a super effective webinar for your MSP to ultimately get not only leads coming in, but people that want to do business with you? How are you guys? My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow, whether it's sales training, marketing, or even some business operations. We've been super fortunate to be able to do quite a bit with the MSPs, and it's been nothing but truly, truly amazing. In the video description and in the podcast description, if you're listening to that, there is a ton of super helpful links. I would highly recommend, especially with this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of resources. You're going to want to go check those out. One that I would like to highlight is one for resources, growth-generators.com/resources. It's got a ton of stuff in there, from super helpful videos to buyer persona worksheets, getting sales sheets, step-by-step guides on how to land your first clients. It's worth going and checking it out. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that. So let's talk about you setting up a webinar. Now, webinars are really, really good depending on where your target client is. And it doesn't particularly matter where they're located, because conveniently, if they are having interest in talking to you, they probably use a computer. So they could realistically be just about anywhere. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to give you my absolute most secretest of secret sauces that works tremendously well when it comes to webinars, so you're not going to want to skip any part of this video. But the first thing is you have to figure out what your webinar is actually going to be about and where you're going to even host your webinar. Because while yes, you can kind of do a Zoom call, you want to be able to have full control over everybody all the time, and maybe even have a colleague or friend jump on there so that they can, mute people and unmute people, and maybe even take questions for and prep you for the actual Q&A. So right off the bat, I'm going to just start by showing some webinar softwares. Now, I personally like Zoom webinars. I've had really, really good success with Zoom webinars, and you can require a first name, last name, email address, even a phone number or business, and those are all totally fine. There's another one too. GoToWebinar has one. There are tons of super, honestly, incredible webinar platforms out there. These are just the two that I personally use. I like Zoom. I think it's fairly cheap. I want to say it's like 15 or 20 bucks per month to actually get it going. And look, you don't have to. If you're doing a small group, you can start with just doing something with the base plan. You do get about 40 minutes on a Zoom call specifically, and it's not loading here, but hey, you know what? That's what we're rocking with today. So in this case, I'm going to use a very interesting topic. Now, I'm going to talk about cybersecurity and using that as the example for this webinar because it's really important, right? And it's a good place to start when it comes to selling managed services. It's kind of a good foot in the door. Everyone needs some kind of antivirus protection, maybe even threat detection. You can get into crazy stuff, XDR, EDR, all of that. Trust me, I get it. But for the sake of this video, we're not going to go super, super deep into that. But the first thing you want to do is, after you pick your platform that you're going to run it on, is you got to come up with a topic. In this case, I'm going to use cybersecurity, but think about what's truly, truly interesting to your target customer. There's a lot. And depending on what industry you're in, whether that's medical, financial, legal, education, there are tons of super interesting areas that you could progressively go deeper and deeper and deeper in. These all relate to what your webinar should be about. And your webinar should cover quite a bit of information. You should make it fun. You should make it exciting. But the webinar part, that's up to you on what you want to build. Quite honestly, there's a ton that you can build in there, and that's just kind of how it goes. There's no secret sauce. There's kind of a nice layout that you should have, a nice opener, a hook. You should have some kind of meat and potatoes in there, and then a strong call to action at the end. That's a pretty basic webinar layout. But after that, what are you going to do? What actually needs to happen? Well, you have to get people to attend your webinar, and we need to dive into promotion because that's really where the secret sauce comes into play. on top of the secret sauce I'm going to share with you at the end of this video. You have to be able to promote it. Now, there's tons of modalities that you can use to promote it. And if you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, you already know I love Go High Level. It's a fantastic platform, especially if you already have some contacts. If you're attending BNI, LaTip, you're doing some networking, maybe you're joining into some local Facebook groups. Hopefully you've gotten some information. Now, the reason why I like Go High Level specifically is because you could do a couple of the areas that I'm about to emphasize that you need to spend time on to get more people into that webinar. Number one, first and foremost, undoubtedly the most important thing is you got to send emails. You need to email market the heck out of this. Trust me, if people don't want your emails, that promotion of your webinar is not going to be the thing that is the iceberg to the Titanic. They were just looking for an unsubscribe button. It is your job to promote your webinar and to help as many people as possible. So the first and most important thing is you gotta start doing some email marketing. You wanna send out emails weeks before, leading up to it, kind of hinting that it's coming, getting people in early registration, all the way up until literally hours before that webinar actually kicks off. And you wanna still be promoting. And for the people that couldn't attend the webinar, maybe even taking it one step further and hosting that webinar, whether it's free and people can view it, maybe it's behind a page on your website where you have to request for information before they view it, but you have to start emailing people to get them ultimately interested, to get them into the webinar, and make it fun. If I just said, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity today and how it could impact your business, that couldn't sound less exciting. But if we went into it a different approach, we're like, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity and how hackers from, I'm just going to say, Russia will not be able to get into your system. All of a sudden, that sounds way more exciting, right? Or how to prevent hackers from taking your credit card information or your patient's information, whatever it is. Put a little pizzazz, put a little extra flair into that. You want to make it exciting. You want people to be excited about it. It's already a topic that to most people isn't that exciting. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Obviously, if you're in the cybersecurity world, it's going to be super exciting, but your target customer isn't in that world. They are just normal people using computers. You have to make it exciting for them to get them interested in it. So email marketing, especially if you already have contacts, is easily the number one, in my opinion. Start sending that out, and you could build out an automation that'll just send out emails, so on and so forth, for a certain period of time. Number two, you gotta get on social media. It is the lifeblood of business at this point. I use social media, LinkedIn. Surprise, surprise. That's part of, depending on who you ask, part of social media is creating that content. Now, you could use whatever platform it is. I would strongly encourage you, pick up this little device. For those of you that are listening, I'm holding my cell phone here, and take videos, take whatever it is, pictures, get people interested in it. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, that's good. That's called growth, and that's a good thing. It's never going to be perfect the first time, but by you making social media content, you are leaps and bounds ahead of all of your competitors, because I can promise you they're not making the social media content. Try different stuff when it comes to social media. You want it to be engaging. You want it to be thought-provoking. You want to also mention what is happening and when it's happening, so that way you can have the best possible chances at success when it comes to getting people into your webinar. After you go through that webinar and get them to convert over, that's up to you. This is to get people into your webinar and how to actually effectively host one. Next is going to be partnerships and influencers. If you can find partnerships with companies that do something similar, this is where you can have some tremendous benefit. Now, I've spoken quite a bit, maybe even ad nauseum, about strategic partners. You're an MSP. Find people that aren't needing MSP services, or businesses that you can relate to that could change or exchange business back and forth. low voltage cabling companies, phone providers, digital marketing agencies, especially local ones, are great places to start. They don't do anything that you do, but they're complementary. I can't tell you how many times somebody calls a digital marketing company and says, "Hey, my email's not working. You guys wouldn't be able to fix this, would you?" That's not what they do. That's not what they want to do. But they could be a very good synergistic relationship with you. Find those people. Tell them what's going on. Tell them maybe you'd even be willing to share the information of who attends, and find people to become that partnership or influencer among their community to bring you more potential visitors or viewers on that webinar. It is the best way to go about it. If there's a mover and shaker in the community, see if they're willing to share it out. Maybe they're willing to attend too because they want to learn themselves. And last but not least, put it on your website. The amount of people that just go through with the horse blinders on and only look at their target is huge. Put it on your website. You could put it on your website on the homepage. I'm going to just pull up my own stuff here, but you can put it on the homepage. You could write a blog post about it. You could write multiple blog posts about it. You could have pop-ups on your website that'll actually have that on there. All of these are crazy, crazy important because you want people to find it. You want people to attend. In this case, we don't have any pop-ups right now, nothing crazy going on, but we can write plenty of stuff as far as blog posts go. We can write plenty of emails. We can promote it all over social media and go from there. Now, let's talk about creating engaging content about, in this case, cybersecurity, your webinar, right? You got to get people excited. You can't put all of that effort, all of that pizzazz, all of that sparkle in the beginning parts of it, whether that's email marketing, social media, influencers, website and blog, and then flop when it comes to your actual webinar. You want to make it super, super engaging. This means visual aids. This means maybe even going on rants. I would highly recommend drinking a tremendous amount of coffee. Show your passion for what you do. Your passion will help sell tremendously. Be professional. But going and recording that webinar and showing people the passion that you have, the energy that you have around arguably a very boring topic to your target customer is going to help you close that gap tremendously. And you've probably already heard me talk about it, but the sale is in the follow-up afterwards. You're going to promote the heck out of this thing, which is great. That's what you want to do. You're going to have people attend. You're going to make the best possible webinar you possibly can. And then after that, regardless of whether or not they want to sign up at the end of that call or book an appointment with you at the end of that call or not, you have to follow up. It is super important to follow up. Once again, going back to go high level, you're going to follow up with a phone call. You're going to follow up with an email. You might even follow up with a text message, but you want to make sure that you're following up as often as possible. You guys already know I do love Go High Level because it does all of this in one place. There is an affiliate link down below, but I use this for my own business. It is tremendous. You have to be able to give people an opportunity to reach back out and maybe even take it one step further. Hey, you attended our webinar? I want to send you a free ebook. I want to send you this. I want to add more value than they already thought that they were getting. But it has to be super, super engaging from the get-go. Now, in the beginning, I referenced a super important piece of secret sauce that I'm going to give you. And I'm going to give that to you right now. But before I do that, you got to hit the like button and that subscribe button, even that notification bell. And if you want to get crazier, if you think I missed something, or you just want to say thank you for the information, leave that down in the comments. It literally melts my heart every single time I get one of those. Now, my secret sauce that you've been waiting for is your first webinars are going to suck, but you have to do them over and over and over again. Even if you get one attendee, the best part about that is Hofstra did a study years ago, and that study was there was a photography professor. And hear me out, this is a bit of a long-winded story, but it's truly important. There was a photography professor. They split their class into two groups, Group A and Group B. And the only project that they had to do throughout the entire year was get one perfect picture. Or at least that's what Group A had to do. Now, Group B was assigned different a different project, slightly similar. The goal was still to get the perfect picture, but group A can give one picture. Group B could give as many pictures as they wanted, and they were strongly encouraged to take as many pictures as possible throughout this. And this was a cool social experiment. At the end of the semester, the professor looked at all of the pictures across both groups, and group A had some fantastic pictures, and it was only one picture. They were so focused on getting that perfect picture. Some students did a great job. Others kind of flopped or didn't really meet expectations. But group B, the group that did hundreds, if not thousands of pictures, working on trying to get the best possible picture and pictures, had tremendously better results when it came down to this. I'm telling you all that because just because your first webinar isn't adrenaline pumping, exciting, fun, you might be like me when I first did one and shaking. It's okay. That's normal to happen. You're not used to being on camera. You're not used to talking to people. You're not used to doing a demo in a large environment. It's normal. But what you can do is you can keep doing that every single week. You're going to modify, adjust it. You're going to get into a groove. You're going to get excited. Might it be a little boring? That's debatable, depending on how excited you are about the topic. But the real goal is to keep doing it over and over and over again to get the best possible webinar. And after you've done all of that, you can record it and do a webinar on demand. So I hope you guys found some value in this. This is how to promote a webinar, how to actually execute on that webinar, and convert some people over on that. I have some super helpful links down in the video or podcast description based on what you are listening to or where you're getting this. But other than that, I appreciate the heck out of you guys. As always, love you guys to death. I will see you guys on the next video. And like I said, comments, leave them down below.